Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every day. I am your host, Niall. You will find the podcast out there on the upper tier on YouTube. So if you could smash that subscribe and bell notification button. And if you're enjoying the videos, drop a like on them as well as always and share them out there. Let's try and grow the channel. Jumping on today for a quick episode about Darwin Nunez, who looks like he's about to be unveiled as Liverpool's first signing or second signing, I should say, really. Um, Massive signing, huge price tag. So I thought we'd take a look at him today, delve into the player and stuff like that. Certainly, he has kind of, in some cases, divided a fan base. As he goes in as a potential replacement for Sadio Mane, who looks like his heart is set on going to Bayern Munich, and it's just a kind of timing thing in terms of finding the right deal for him there. Bayern insulting us with the first two offers, to say the least. The add-ons was an absolute joke in the last offer. 3 Champions League and 3 Ballon d'Ors. Who do they think they are? Michael Edwards? We're not tolerating that. Don't try and beat us at our own game. But let's talk about Darwin Nunez and get into it. I mean, obviously, it's weird in terms of the Liverpool fan base because we complain about FSG when they don't spend, and then we complain about FSG when they do spend. So there's a dynamic there as well. What I would say from the outset is that one, I'm happy that we're signing a player of this quality. Two, I would say yes, the price is high, and we'll get into it. Especially in relation when you compare it to Luis Diaz. And three, I would say, you know, so long as it's not the only signing of the season and there's more players to come in, then I'm okay with it. I don't want this to be the signing and that's it. Because we do need a midfielder and we do need another forward with Divock Origi after leaving the club as well. So hopefully this is not the be all and end all of the transfer window for us, and I would hope not. And we have been linked with other players as well, heavily linked. But I suppose people have been looking at Darwin Nunez, and he's an exceptional goal scorer. Scores all types of goals, has an unbelievable turn of foot, and we'll talk about all that shortly. Um, but there is a concern out there about him, and we'll get into that shortly. Full name: Darwin Gabriel Nunez Ribeiro. That's his name. He's 22, about to turn 23. His birthday's the 24th of June. Born in Uruguay, of course. And we've had good luck there with Uruguayan players, Luis Suarez, namely, but also they've produced some fantastic players there. I mean, Edson Cavani, some unbelievable players. And he's been touted, the new Edson Cavani. But again, a number of people in the fan base have grave concerns over that. They don't think he's as talented as Edson Cavani, but he is very young. If you look at his senior career, he started out in Penarol um, with 14 appearances and 4 goals. Then he moved to Almere in 2019-2020 with 13 appearances and 16 goals. And then at Benfica, 57 appearances and 32 goals. So absolutely massive. If you look at his international career, which I'd imagine is a tough one breaking into the front line at Uruguay at a young age and stuff like that, but he's had 11 appearances and 2 goals. Of those 11 appearances, I'm sure they're probably not all starts. I'm sure the competition for places up front for Uruguay is pretty stiff, to be honest. If you look at this season, I looked at this season, 34 from 41 starts, 34 goals and 4 assists, so basically 38 goal contributions from 41 games. And they came mainly in the Portuguese league, where there was 26 and 4 from 28 games. Champions League, 6 goals from 10 games, so solid enough there. And then a sprinkling then throughout the Allianz Cup and the Portuguese Cup and stuff like that. The only thing that concerns me on this, and it's only a concern, and look, I trust the gaffer totally, and I think he can take any player. Darren has said it a number of times on the podcast. He can literally take any player and turn them into a fine wine. He just has that ability. You've seen what he's done with Robbo. We've seen what he's done with, even to a point, Mane and Salah and stuff like that. He's just turned these into outstanding players. And Darwin Nunez for him would be young enough and probably raw enough to be able to mould him into, becoming more on that side of his game. The goal scoring, I don't have a problem with. And it's not a major problem either, but 4 assists in a season would also be fairly low for a guy up front, especially when you look at the statistics from our own players. There tends to be more of a blend and more of a balance between the goals and the assists. But I think there could be a number of factors affecting that. Maybe the quality of the player that he's playing with at Benfica. There's also an issue there with his passing statistics. Maybe that could be an issue that could be fixed and corrected and trained and worked on and coached. Because if you don't have a high pass completion rate, it means you're not finding people. It means you might be in the right position, but you're just not picking the right pass, or you're not playing the right pass. But that can all be worked on and developed, as we've seen in the past. But that would be the only concern I have about the boy. If you look at the deal that's there, the deal that he's coming in for apparently is 65 million and a further 18 million in add-ons, based on individual and club achievements. Now we know that this boy was widely sought after. I mean, Man United they've been working on a deal from, I think, now for about 3 to 4 weeks, and he was one of Eric Ten Hag's main targets. And it looks like, albeit if there's some issue medical wise or something like that, he's going to be a Liverpool player. But we also know Newcastle were in from, and we know Atletico Madrid had made inquiries with him, and we also know that West Ham wanted the boy. David Moyes was very hot on him back in, I think it was January. He inquired about him. He wanted him to come in to boost the team at the time. But Liverpool looks like they've got their man. Um, and I suppose with Liverpool being in the position they're in at the moment, they probably just have a little bit more to offer them than those other teams at the moment in terms of Champions League football, in terms of challenging for trophies, in terms of being overall in a really, really good place. And having Jurgen Klopp there, who's also signed an extension recently, would give a player like Darwin Nunez the confidence that he's going to get to play and be coached under Jurgen Klopp for the next 3 to 4 years, which will greatly improve him. But yeah, the question is, I suppose, the pros and the cons. Let's look at these pros and cons. I suppose, like any signing, nothing is a guarantee. And we've heard people talking about the price tag and stuff like that, and they've been saying, well, for X amount, you could have gotten Nkunku, but Nkunku doesn't want to come to Liverpool. He wants to go to PSG, so that's not an option. Then people were talking about Robin Lewandowski, but Robin Lewandowski, he has his heart set on Barcelona. He doesn't want to come to Liverpool, so it doesn't matter. Other people were saying, well, if you put more money on top of that, you could potentially get a Harry Kane. I don't see Spurs parting with Harry Kane with the projects that's there. I think if they did part with him, I think Conte would walk through the door and they'd have bigger problems. So I don't think that's an option either. So when you look around, he is really the man that's available. So these other options, and I know people turn around and go, oh, but if you lay the money down, you get these guys. But this guy has made no bones about the fact that he wanted to go to Liverpool, to the point where he's instructed his agent to stop talking to the other teams, that it's Liverpool where he wants to go. And it was just a case of ourselves and Benfica coming to an arrangement on the deal and a payment plan. And that looks like it's all agreed and in place now. So the question is, when he comes into the Premier League, and we know the Premier League's a much stronger league than the Portuguese league. So when he comes in there, how will a young man of his stature carry the price tag? That's a big price tag. He's going to be nearly a record signing for us when you include the add-ons and all that kind of stuff. You know, certainly when you look at him, and the price tag will be sort of counterbalanced really by the wages, because I would expect his wages to be somewhere around 80 to 100,000. So the wages, although this is huge money for the likes of me and you, it's not huge money in terms of football, and not huge money for a player of this stature at this age. I mean, this is a guy in 3 years could be worth double what we've paid for him. And we know that this is the profile. If you talk about the profile of the player, this is the profile of the player that FSG and Liverpool tend to go for. They tend to go for a younger player, that whole money ball situation and stuff like that. We know he has electric speed. We know he's been clocked as the fastest player in the Champions League this season. I think either first or second anyway, but I think he was first. And I think doing a comparison between himself and Mo Salah and Sadio Mane, he's about 3 kilometers faster than those. I think he was clocked at 36.2, and the boys average around the 33.2 or something like that. So he's faster than Mo Salah and faster than Sadio Mane, which to me is absolutely frightening. Um, and also from a standing position, he leaves defenders dead. Um, he's a great finisher, scores goals. You can see it there if you look at his goals. I think in total, what has he got? It's 30. What's it? 41 games and 38 goal contributions. So he's literally involved in a goal literally every game, either scoring or assisting, but mainly heavily weighted on the side of scoring. Um, as I said, he's a great finisher, but I would highlight the assist situation. I would expect a player of him to have more than 4 assists in a season. Um, and I think that blend will be corrected. We're playing with better players, the likes of Mo Salah, Luis Diaz, Jota, Bobby Firmino, those type of players, plus the likes of Thiago in midfield and stuff like that, and Keita and Jordan Henderson. When you're playing with a better level of player, those opportunities will come more. And as he blends into the team and settles, you'll see that his goal contributions in terms of assists will greatly increase. I believe anyway. Um, Comparisons have been made between himself and Jota, and people have said, like, well, we already have Diogo Jota there, so why are we buying another similar player? Um, well, we're not necessarily buying a similar player. We're buying a player here who, like, his goal ratio is huge. And the one thing we seen last season that we lacked and we fell short on at times was actually putting the ball in the back of the net at times with the amount of chances we created. And I think this season, if we created those amount of chances and we had a Darwin Nunez on the end of them, I think our goals would go up greatly. So I'm excited about the signing. I'm not caught up about the price tag because one, the other options that are out there are not really options because they don't really want to come to Liverpool. And two, they're simply not spending my money, they're spending their money. So I'm okay with that. And I'm encouraged that the owners are spending money and that they have taken the lead on this and gone out and put money up and stuff like that to support Jurgen and the team. Again, I would preface that I still think we need at least another 2 players in of high quality as well. And that has to happen. If this is the be all and end all, I'll be disappointed in the window, but not in the signing. Um, the other thing that people have been speaking about is this the guy to replace Sadio Mane? Because we know Sadio Mane had been going through the middle recently, and we know that Diaz was pushed out onto the left. That's his position. Um, I think if that was the plan going forward, then I think yes, he comes in as a replacement for Sadio Mane. I don't see it be a problem. But we look at a graphic shortly now that shows that he's also played out on the left as well. And we've seen sometimes when Luis Diaz switches into the middle, he's not as effective as he is out on the left. So that would be a little bit of a concern. But are we looking at a change to the system? Um, and is it truly either a change to the way we're going to play, or is it an alternative to the way that we're going to play? Or are we simply reacting to the moves that Man City are making in the market in terms of signing Haaland and Alvarez and how we feel they're going to play next season? Are we reacting to that? Or have we looked at this and said, you know something, maybe we need to change this system up and freshen it up a bit and go again and test ourselves in a slightly different way. So it'll be interesting to see what way that goes. I think, as I said, overall, I'm happy that we're spending money. It is a significant signing, but we will need a midfielder and a forward. But before we go, I just want to have a quick look at some of his stats and stuff like that, which is very interesting. And I'm not really a stat guy, but I wanted to have a look at his injury stuff. And his injury stuff at the moment doesn't really concern me in any way at all. If you look at his injury stuff, I mean, the knee surgery that he had there that kept him out for 89 days. I presume that was a niggle that he had there that needed to be dealt with. And it looks like it was dealt with mainly during the off season, and that's why he missed the 89 days. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. It was 2021. He's played 21, 22. Had a slight niggle knee there, 8 days, nothing major, and he had a foot injury that kept him out for 13 days. So like, there's no major issues there in terms of his injuries, and nothing that keeps him out majorly long term and stuff like that. Not worried about his injuries at all. If you look at his main position of where he plays, he's a centre forward. He's a goal machine. But he can act in the pocket as a second striker, and he can also play as a left winger, which gives us that bit of versatility if we want to change things up. If you look at his market value, I mean, there's no hiding the fact that the way his value has gone through the roof and stuff like that, and it's about to rise even further if you look at his market value, because we're about to drop probably the guts of 65 plus another 18 to 20 maybe in add-ons. And no surprise when you see his performances. I mean, his performances in Europe have been really good, played really well against us and stuff like that. And it'll be interesting to see going forward how he manages in the Premier League. Again, if you look at his rankings and stuff like that, no surprise he's ranked number one in La Liga. Not La Liga, sorry, Liga, Portugal. He's also ranked number one at Benfica, no strange there. In terms of centre forwards, he's ranked 9. In Uruguay, he's ranked 2. And for players, this is a weird one. Players that were born in '99, he's ranked 9, and he's ranked overall 67 in the world. But I mean, those rankings don't mean much. If anything, I'd look at the Portuguese league ranking would be a good one. In terms of centre forward, if you're in the top 10, then you're a serious acquisition and stuff like that. But they're just some of the stats. I'm not mad into the stats and stuff like that, but it's just to give you a flavour of kind of where he's at and how he's ranked. He's highly sought after. He's highly thought of. And he's an exceptional talent and an exceptional player at 22 years of age. And I think Liverpool fans should be on twofold. They should be excited with this signing coming in, pending on what happens with Mane and Salah and stuff like that. And if Salah does get the opportunity to stick around for another season, or is he going to force the club's hand into a move, we'll have to wait and see. But yes, that FSG is spending money as well, and we should applaud that. We give out enough when they don't, so now that they do, we should applaud it. So yeah, just a quick look at some of the stats there and injuries and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, I think it's a reason for optimism. I don't think we should get too caught up on the assists and get too caught up on the this pass completion stuff and stuff like that. I think they're all things that can be worked on. I think they're all things with playing with a better level, better quality player that will improve greatly. And I'd have no worries at all about Darwin Nunez being an absolute success at Liverpool. So that's it, folks. Just a short episode. Let us know what you think down in the comments, because it is dividing the fan base a little bit. And I think one thing they're forgetting is that FSG is putting his hand in its pocket, which is always a good thing to see. Until next time, if you want to contact the show, we're on Twitter at Session Shankly. We're on the Upper Tier Podcast at gmail.com, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the Upper Tier, and audio versions of the show, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music as always. Again, I would ask you if you could drop a subscribe, hit the subscribe button, smash that like button out there as well. Anytime you're enjoying the shows, and always drop a comment and stuff like that. But let us know you're thinking on Darwin Nunez. I know listening to some of the fan forums last night and stuff like that, and some of the United ones as well, they were really, really disappointed at missing out on this boy and asking the question, if they've been at it for about 3 to 4 weeks now, why hasn't the boy signed and how did they miss out on him when Liverpool kind of only entered the race for him within the last 4 to 5 days, and it looks like things have been tied down. We will talk to you again real soon, Reds, as we go through the rest of this transfer window.